People didn't choose a potato diet, it chose them. And I mean that literally. For most of history, people ate potatoes because that's what was there. And because if they didn't eat them, they didn't eat much at all. There wasn't a conversation or a philosophy behind it. There was food and then there was not food. And potatoes sat firmly in that first category. That's something very hard to understand now because we live in a world where food feels like an identity project. What you eat is supposed to say something about who you are, what tribe you belong to, how disciplined you are, or how switched on you think you are. That framing just didn't exist for most of human history. Food wasn't self-expression, it was fuel that solved a basic problem. If you look at places like Ireland, Poland, parts of Russia, Germany, especially during wartime or economic collapse, potatoes weren't a preference, they were a foundation. They grew well in bad soil, they stored through winter and they fed families cheaply. When food systems broke down, potatoes didn't vanish the way everything else did. During wars, particularly in Eastern Europe, people weren't sitting around worrying about balanced meals or variety. Potatoes, bread, sometimes cabbage if things were going well. That was it. Meals were repetitive for months and sometimes years at a time, and yet people survived on that kind of food. Not comfortably, not easily, but they survived. Food wasn't there to excite you, it was there to keep you upright. Ireland is the obvious example, and for good reason. For generations, potatoes were part of daily life. Morning, midday, evening. Potatoes showed up constantly, and despite the way potatoes get talked about now, people weren't collapsing because of them. They worked physically demanding jobs, they raised families, they lived on food that was filling, predictable, and heavy enough to carry them through the day. And this isn't just something you read about in history books. When I worked in healthcare, one of the things that stuck with me was talking to people in their 80s and 90s. A lot of them grew up poor, proper poor, and when you asked them what they ate growing up, it was always staples like potatoes, cabbage, bread, and then small allowances of meat, butter or sugar when they could get it. You know, potatoes came up again and again because that's what there was. Big sacks of them, cheap and filling. What's interesting is what they say now. They're not saying life was better back then because it wasn't. Life was harder in almost every way, but a lot of them say their bodies felt calmer, less digestive trouble, less constant hunger and food-related issues. They didn't use those words, obviously, but that's what they were describing. There wasn't this constant decision-making around food. You didn't stand in front of a fridge negotiating with yourself. You ate what was there, and then you went and lived your life. That's a completely different relationship with food than what most of us have now. Today, we live in a totally different world. You can order food from the other side of the planet and have it at your door in days, sometimes minutes with Uber Eats. We've got more choice than any other humans who have ever lived, and yet food somehow seems more complicated, more stressful and more loaded than ever. And nobody's going to push you to buy a simple bag of potatoes and be done with your food shopping. You know, there's just no money in that. There's no advertising campaign for boring food that just works. Everything is designed to keep you looking, upgrading, tweaking and second guessing what you're already doing. That's not conspiracy, that's just how selling food works. One thing I've noticed, both from listening to people and from my own experience, is that when food gets simpler, my brain calms down as well. When I was doing carnivore for years, it was simple on paper, but it still had that edge to it. It was always this thing you had to defend or explain or stay strict about. And if you drifted, it felt like you messed up. Then I went the other way with a high carb rice diet, and it was the same theme again, just from a different angle. The simpler it got, the less I thought about food all day. Not because I became some disciplined monk, but the food stopped acting like a slot machine. I ate, I got full, and then I got on with my life. And at one point I wasn't thinking about food all day, and that felt oddly peaceful. That's basically what potatoes do for me as well. I don't treat it like a challenge, and I'm not doing it to prove anything. It just makes eating feel normal again. It's predictable, it's filling, and it doesn't leave me walking around thinking about what I should have eaten instead. And it's not like I'm sat there eating sad plain potatoes in silence either.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
I'll eat them like a normal person. I'll mash them, I'll bake them, I'll chop them up and air fry them. I'll add whatever makes sense in the moment. The point isn't purity. The point is that the base of the meal is simple enough that it doesn't spiral into this whole mental project. The strangest part isn't even the potatoes. The strangest part is how little mental space food takes up when I do. I'm not planning, researching, compensating or fixing anything. I eat until I'm full and then I move on with my day. I think a lot of people confuse boredom with peace when it comes to food. We're so used to food constantly pushing buttons that when it stops doing that, it feels strange at first. But strange doesn't mean wrong. It just means your nervous system isn't being poked all day. When food stops demanding attention, you suddenly notice how much space it used to take up. And for me at least, that space gets filled with other things pretty quickly. You think less about eating and more about living, which sounds obvious, but it's not how most of us operate anymore. If potatoes were genuinely the problem, history wouldn't look the way it does. Whole countries wouldn't have leaned on them for centuries. And the funny thing is, the foods that kept people alive for centuries are still the cheapest things in the shop. That fear didn't come from a lived experience, it came later, when food stopped being about survival and started becoming something else entirely. People didn't trust potatoes because someone told them to. They trusted them because nothing bad happened when they ate them. When food options were limited, people weren't constantly negotiating with themselves. There was less decision making, less obsession and less noise. You ate and you were full and life moved forward. That kind of simplicity almost feels alien now. We've complicated food so much that the simplest things now feel radical. So yeah, people didn't eat potatoes because they were healthy, they ate them because they worked. And I think that's a part worth paying attention to, not as a rule or as an ideology, and definitely not as something to argue about online. Sometimes food just needs to feed you, not mess with your head and let you get on with your life. For a lot of people, for a very long time, potatoes did exactly that. And I think that's worth remembering.